Welcome to the Deep Dive, brought to you by Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah. Our mission today, well, it's to cut through all the noise, sift through the specs and reviews.
And really get to the heart of it.
Exactly. We want to give you the most important insights on two really popular laser printers so you can feel, properly informed for your next office upgrade.
That's the plan. Today, we're zeroing in on the Canon imageCLASS MF287dw and the HP Color LaserJet Pro MFP33R1SDW.
Right. Two very capable machines, but with some key differences.
Yeah, and we've got a pile of sources here, product pages, customer reviews, all that good stuff to help us unpack what really matters when you're trying to choose between them.
Okay, so let's jump right in with, I think, the most fundamental difference here.
Go for it.
The Canon imageCLASS MF287dw. It's a monochrome laser printer.
Meaning black and white only. No color.
Precisely. Built for efficiency, mostly text documents, that kind of thing.
And then you've got the HP Color LaserJet Pro MFP3301SDW. The clue's kind of in the name there.
Right, this one does print in color. And this single difference, monochrome versus color, it honestly affects almost everything else we're going to talk about.
It really does. So the first big question for you, the listener, has to be, do you actually need color printing day to day?
Because that decision impacts the price, the running costs, even the size of the thing. If it's just internal reports, invoices, monochrome is probably fine, maybe even better.
But if you're doing presentations, flyers, anything visual,
then color becomes pretty essential, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of impact, let's talk price, because that's often the first hurdle. The Canon MF287dw, the monochrome one, a new unit looks to be around $249.99 based on our sources.
Okay.
We even saw a new for about $242. List price is around $270. It seems pretty accessible.
Yeah, that's definitely an entry-level price for a proper laser multifunction. Now compare that to the HP 3301SDW.
The color one.
Right, a new unit is looking more like $489.
Wow, okay. Big jump.
It is. Almost double the Canon. Even a used very good option was still around $370. So that color capability, it comes at a significant premium up front.
That's a major budget consideration right out of the gate.
Definitely something to factor in.
Okay, so they're both billed as all-in-one or multifunction devices. What does that actually mean in terms of features? What are you getting beyond just printing?
Good question. So both of them cover the basics: print, copy, and scan. That's pretty standard for an office AIO these days.
Right.
And importantly, they both have automatic duplex printing.
Printing on both sides of the paper automatically. Saves paper, saves hassle.
Exactly. Very useful. And they also both include an automatic document feeder, an ADF.
For scanning or copying stacks of paper, right? Instead of one page at a time on the glass.
Precisely. Makes handling multi-page documents much, much easier.
Okay. Those are solid features for both. But what about speed? How fast do they churn out pages?
This is where it gets interesting. The Canon MF287dw, remember, it's monochrome only. It's rated at up to 35 pages per minute for black and white, and the first page comes out in under 4.9 seconds. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, 35 ppm is moving. What about the HP, the color one?
The HP 3301SDW clocks in at up to 30 pages per minute, but here's the thing, that's for both black and color prints.
Oh, interesting. So the Canon is faster if you only ever print black and white.
Right, but the HP maintains that 30 ppm speed even when you're printing in full color, which is quite respectable.
So if you print a mix, the HP might feel consistently fast across the board, even if the Canon has the edge on pure monochrome speed.
That's a good way to put it. And there's another function difference. Fax.
Fax. People still use that.
Apparently so. Some industries, legal, medical, they still rely on it. The Canon MF287dw includes fax capability built in.
Okay, and the HP.
Our sources don't list fax as a core function for the HP 3301SDW, so if you absolutely need fax, the Canon has it covered.
That could be a deciding factor for a specific niche of users, for sure.
It really could. Now, how do these things actually connect to your network and devices? That's crucial these days.
Totally. Wi-Fi, Ethernet.
Both have got you covered there. Wi-Fi for wireless convenience, USB for a direct connection if you need it, and Ethernet for that stable wired network connection often preferred in offices.
Good, so flexible options. What about printing from phones or tablets? Mobile printing support.
Yeah, both are pretty well equipped. The Canon supports its own Canon Print app, Canon Print Business, plus the standards like Apple AirPrint and Mopria Print Service for Android.
So good broad compatibility there.
Seems like it. The HP has its own HP app, naturally. And it adds something interesting. compatibility with Alexa.
Voice control. Like, Alexa, print my shopping list.
Exactly like that. It's a neat feature, maybe a bit niche, but it points to that smart home integration. How connected do you need your printer to be?
That's a really good question for the listener to consider. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room for laser printers. Toner costs.
Ah, yes. The long-term expense.
The initial price is one thing, but keeping it fed with toner, that adds up. What's the story here?
Well, both use high-capacity toner cartridges, which is generally good. Means you replace them less often, potentially lower cost per page.
But I sense a but coming.
But as customer reviews for both printers pointed out, words like pricey and not cheap come up frequently regarding the official toner. It's an ongoing investment.
Okay, standard enough for laser printers.
Yeah.
But you found something specific about the HP's toner, didn't you?
Yes, this was quite striking. The sources for the HP 3301dw explicitly state it's intended to work only with cartridges with HP chips or circuitry.
Uh-oh. Proprietary cartridges.
Exactly. And it gets better. They also mention that periodic firmware updates will maintain the effectiveness of these measures.
So they're actively locking out third-party or remanufactured toner options via firmware updates.
That's certainly what it sounds like. The Canon sources didn't mention any similar restriction.
Wow. That's a huge deal if you were hoping to save money using non-HP toner down the line. With the HP, it looks like you're locked into buying their official, potentially more expensive cartridges.
It seems that way. It really limits your choices for consumables and could significantly impact your long-term running costs compared to the Canon, assuming the Canon remains more open.
Definitely something for budget-conscious buyers to weigh heavily. Okay, moving on from cost, what about physical size? Do these things take up a lot of space?
Well, there's a difference here, too. The HP 3301dw is the heavier, larger one. It's about 37.7 pounds.
Needs a sturdy desk, then.
Yeah, and dimensions are roughly 16.5 inches deep, 13.5 wide, and 16.5 high. One user actually mentioned the width made it awkward for standard file cabinets.
Okay, good practical feedback. And the Canon?
The Canon MF287dw is lighter, around 27.6 pounds. And while we didn't get exact, concise dimensions from the sources, multiple reviews called it pretty compact and nice for my cramped home office.
So the Canon seems like the better bet if space is really tight.
It certainly appears that way.
All right, specs and features are one thing. But what about the actual user experience? What are people saying in reviews? You mentioned they both have a 4.2-star rating on Amazon.
That's right, both sitting at 4.2 out of 5 stars, which is pretty solid overall satisfaction.
Well, you also noted the HP has way more reviews.
Yeah, significantly more. Like 421 ratings for the HP versus only 33 for the Canon in the sources we looked at, suggests a much larger user base, or at least a more vocal one for the HP.
Okay, let's dig into that feedback. What were the highs and lows for the Canon?
For the Canon, big positives were ease of installation. People found it genuinely easy to set up. Sharp print quality got mentioned, and the core functions, copy, scan, fax, were seen as reliable. Just worked.
Good. Any negatives?
Well, there was one really scathing review calling it total junk, citing constant errors and USB hub problems, so not perfect for everyone. And a minor annoyance mentioned by a few was removing the protective red shipping strips during setup, apparently a bit fiddly.
Okay, fair enough. What about the HP? Lots of reviews there. What's the vibe?
HP also got praise for easy setup, which is interesting. Fast printing, especially the color, was a highlight, with users liking the vivid colors from that new TerraJet toner.
TerraJet, right, that's their newer toner tech. Brighter colors, maybe more efficient.
Supposedly, yes. But the HP feedback was definitely more mixed in some areas. Wireless connectivity was a big one.
Ah, connection issues. Buggy apps.
Yep, several reports of dropped connections and app frustrations. Also some weird quirks like out-of-paper errors when there was paper loaded.
Totally annoying.
Very. And some users had trouble with scanning, especially scan to email. And then there was the haunted printer comment.
Right, waking up in the middle of the night.
Apparently so, groaning to life for no reason. Maybe just running a maintenance cycle, but definitely described amusingly. It points to maybe some minor firmware oddities or unexpected behaviors.
Shows that even highly rated products can have their little personality quirks.
Absolutely. Oh, and one final point we picked up, the Canon MF287dw has an EPEAT Silver certification.
EPEAT. That's the environmental rating for electronics, right?
Correct. Silver is a good tier, means it meets decent standards for energy efficiency, materials used, recyclability, end-of-life management. Points towards it being a more sustainable choice.
That's a factor some buyers will really care about, especially businesses with green policies.
For sure. It adds another dimension to the comparison.
Yeah.
How important is the environmental footprint of your office gear?
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Let's try and bring it all together.
Sounds good.
If you need pure black and white speed, a compact footprint, maybe that built-in fax, potentially more flexibility with toner down the road, the Canon imageCLASS MF287dw seems like a strong contender, especially given its lower price.
Agreed. But if you need color printing, appreciate consistent speed across both black and color, want that potential Alexa integration, and are okay with the higher price and likely being tied to HP toner, the HP Color LaserJet Pro MF287dw is the way to go. Despite some reported quirks, its large user base seems generally happy.
So it really boils down to your specific needs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Color versus monochrome is the massive fork in the road.
Absolutely. Then budget initial cost and long-term toner cost, considering that HP chip situation. And finally, how much do those user reports about connectivity issues or minor quirks bother you versus things like size or fax capability?
There's no single best, just what's best for you.
That's the takeaway.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of laser printers. We really hope digging into the details like this has helped you feel more informed.
And if you want to check out the latest prices or maybe snag a deal on either the Canon or the HP, do take a look at the links we've put in the description below.
Yep, check those out. And if you found this helpful and you like getting straight to the point on tech decisions, please consider subscribing to our channel, Tech Talk Central.
We'd love to have you join us for more deep dives.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.